Hey yo, people! What that was really funny. Hi, hello. This is a commentary for the very first episode of Sir Colco, which was the top 10 best Gen 1 Pokemon, the start of a grand, prosperous era. Um, okay, I'm going to be splitting this into two separate commentaries. This first one that you're hearing is going to be just talking about the origins of Sir Colco and like the process I went into when like making this channel and why I created it, stuff like that. And then the second part is just going to be a commentary talking about this video specifically, because I have a lot of different things to say about this one because it's a very yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's a really I got a lot of interesting things to say about it. Okay, so for Sir Colco, I first started making YouTube videos when I would make. I got Flipnote Studio 3D, and then I would be working on my animations like during school to show for my friends. And I remember making the Mario vs. Sonic Flipnote animation. And then a guy in my gym class, he saw me animating it, and he told me like, "Hey, you should like upload those animations to YouTube and start a YouTube channel." And I thought that was a pretty cool idea because I was watching a channel named Pymations a lot at the time, and he was actually the reason I started animating. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I could like start a channel and do the kind of stuff that he does. So I started that. I started a channel called Colco Animation Studios, and I would upload animations on there from May to August of 2016. But by August, I got really burnt out from animation because, like, I mean, it's animation. It's a ton of work, and it's a lot of work I had to go into, considering how short the final product would be. Like, it'd be tons and tons of work and effort, only for the final result to be less than a minute long. So I still wanted to create more YouTube videos because I liked doing that, but I didn't really want to. No, sorry. Yeah, I still want to create YouTube videos, but I didn't want to do animations. But I was like, hey, I'm watching a lot of YouTubers who make like video essays on video games. Like, maybe I can do something like that. And yeah, so that's how the idea for Sir Colco videos were born. And the way I would make these videos, I didn't have any sort of like actual editing software, video editing software. And even if I did, I had no idea how to use it properly for these kinds of videos. So what I did instead, I figured, okay, I've still got my Animation Creator HD app that I used on Colco Animation Studios, and I know how to place audio in there. I'll just make it in this app. Yeah, so that's how I made these old videos. I would just make a drawing, and then I would place the audio on that specific frame, and then I would just duplicate that frame over and over until like it met like the runtime until the clip was over, and then I just put in the new drawing in the next audio clip, and so on. Uh, which was a really dumb way of doing it. Also took a lot more time than it needed to, but it worked for what I had. So yeah, that is how I made those videos at the time. So the name Sir Colco, so it obviously comes from Colco, which is what I went by partially in Colco Animation Studios. I called myself Colco for short. And I think at one point I just thought of like Sir Colco, and I was like, that sounds kind of unique. Like maybe I'll do that. Um, yeah, so not really any deep meaning behind the Sir, although there is a bit of a meaning behind Colco. So Colco is actually an acronym for Colin Company, Colin Company, Colco. Because I used to create a lot of things when I was a kid. Like I would create my own comic books, my own books, like video game levels I'd make in video game editors, and even the gift wrapping that I would make for the gifts I gave to my siblings. So that's yeah. So that's why I came up with like a fake company name for all those things because I thought it was really cool, like Calco Comics, Calco Books, Calco Gift Wrapping Co. Yeah. So that's why it was called Calco Animation Studios because Colin Company Animation Studios. That was supposed to be like an extension of that fake company idea. And then I just used Sir Colco. I used Colco for Sir Colco just because that's why I was used to being called on Colco Animation Studio. So I was like, I'll just stick with that because it kind of works. And as you can see, I just reused the same avatar from Colco Animation Studios, and that avatar design originates all the way back to my comic series that I used to write, specifically the Colin Universe Adventures. And that character design is just a self insert of me in that series. So yeah. And like I said before, I did not know how to use proper video editing software, so it ended up being kind of a painful and long process to make these compared to what I could have done. Like, I literally could have just, like, made these drawings, like, plopped them into iMovie. Like, that would have been so much easier, but no, for some reason I didn't know how to use... No, wait, no, I did know how to use iMovie. I made, like, a plush video in there, and I used iMovie edit... What was I doing? Why didn't I just use Sorry, like, this isn't like scripted or anything. I'm genuinely just realizing this now as I record this. Okay, that's stupid, but I guess it is what it is. So yeah. Anyways, last couple things to mention. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about the thumbnail for this video. Ugh, it's really bad. So I did not know how to make custom thumbnails for YouTube. This was actually the first time I ever made one. And I did a really roundabout way of doing it. So, I drew the thumbnail in my usual animation software, but I didn't know you could just export the individual frames properly. So what I did, I took a picture of it with my phone and airdropped it onto my dad's Mac. And then what I would do, since the picture would just be in 4:3, I looked up like YouTube thumbnail maker. Excuse me, I looked up YouTube thumbnail maker on Google and plopped the video in there so I could get to the proper, resolution and proportion size. So that's why it has those awkward, like, white backgrounds around it, because I didn't bother stretching it out. To be fair, stretching it out would still look really bad, and that's what I would do for later videos, but, it's still, the white white, like, background on the sides, it really adds to its own layer of awful. But that's why it looks like that and why it's so gross. Yeah. So this entire video was just made in like 3 days. I didn't use a script at all. I reused the same drawings over and over again a lot, because it was simpler to do that way. And I didn't put very much effort into the drawings or editing. Like, obviously, Sandslash and Vulpix, I made like crappy drawings of them. Instead of fixing that or putting more effort into it, I just acknowledge that they're bad in the video and then move on. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I really did not care much at the beginning. But yeah, last thing to say, I decided, for some reason I didn't announce anything about this channel on Colco Animation Studios until like a few days later after I uploaded this video. And I think that was because I wanted to have this and the channel trailer up before I announced anything. Because you don't want to like announce a new channel and say like, hey, everyone go subscribe here and check it out. And then just have nothing there. Then it's like, well, what am I subscribing for? So that was my plan there, and it worked out fine. I think only one person moved over from Colco Animation Studios, though. That wasn't one of my friends. But anyways, yeah. So that is the origin story of Sir Colco, the Sir Colco lore, if you will. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the second commentary. And this is going to be all about just the video itself. And how atrocious it is. Okay, hi. This is the second commentary, which is just going to be about this video itself. So yeah. Let's talk about this. This was just made, and as you can see, this was made during the peak of the Pokemon Go hype, since it had released like the month before. And yeah, I wasn't into Pokemon Go at first, but then when my cousins introduced me to the game, yeah, I kind of got addicted to it. And yeah, this was like, I figured this would be like the best topic to start out the channel with, because this was at a time where like, this was like the most popular that Pokemon had been in like years. And to this day, like, since then, I don't think it's really reached a peak the same as Pokemon Go ever was. But yeah, hey, look, Raichu. Look at that goofy little drawing. I love that drawing. It's so stupid looking, which is partially intentional, but you know, little bit goofy going on there. Oh, look at that Sandslash drawing. Yeah, so at the time, I would try way too hard to make every character that I drew fit into like a somewhat consistent art style, which is basically like, circle body, circle head, and then stick arms, stick legs. Yeah, and that obviously hindered how a lot of them drew. I didn't really put the effort into like making them look better, which is obvious with Sandslash. Like, I acknowledge how bad it looks, and then I proceed to not fix it, and then just talk about how it looks bad. Like, yeah, like right there, I just say, oh, you can't tell because the drawing's so bad. Do something about it! Yeah. So, hey, look, Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff's design kind of switches around between the drawings in this exact same video. Like, I believe the hair and the color of pink I used look like they change in between frames. Like, yeah, that's a different shade of pink. What are you doing? And the hair's different there too. Like, why didn't you just go back and change the drawings? Nah. Alright, let's get into it. This is the part of the video that we're all waiting for. Say the line! Oh my god. I have no idea what I was thinking with that joke. Like, I don't even know what the punchline is supposed to be. Like, it's just like cute Jigglypuff music is playing, and then like I just scream really loudly. Like, what is the joke? What was I going for? Yeah, that's definitely probably the worst joke I've ever made in the Sir Colco videos. Maybe even ever, honestly. But at least it's funny for how bad it is and how like weird and out of nowhere it comes. Yeah. Hey, look, Charizard. Don't look. Actually, that Charizard drawing is really really yucky. Um, oh yeah, I talk about the Charizard plush here. I actually do still have that Charizard plush, but it is not looking so good. There's like a hole in its tail where stuffing's coming out. Its neck can't stand up on its own anymore. Like the wings have some strings coming out of them. It's not looking so great. But I mean, I still have it, so I guess that's something. And ooh, did you see that circle tool on Bulbasaur? Cut back to it, please. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, so when I experimented a lot more with the drawings early on, and I was like, oh, I can use the circle tool. That'll make the spots look a lot better because they'll be perfect circles. But it turns out, no, that actually makes it look a lot worse and like way too like rigid. Like, ew. Like, that's bad. Obviously, I never used the circle tool again after that because why would I? Um, Fun fact about that Nightmare Bulbasaur joke, that originally wasn't part of the thing. Like, I was actually supposed to find a cute clip of Bulbasaur talking, but the only one I could find that was good was just, that clip of Bulbasaur, like, yelling. So, I kind of worked the joke around that, and I changed it to where it's like, oh man, that actually sounds a little bit creepy. Ooh. But yeah, that was kind of unplanned. Oh, look at that Pokemon card. That's reused from the beginning of the video. Yeah. So we played Pokemon cards kind of different. I think round is supposed to be like you can only use it based on how many bench Pokemon you have with round, but we just played it differently to where it was like however many you have in your deck in total, including discarded ones. So obviously that made it pretty broken. Mewtwo's tail's not colored in there. Again, that's another one of those funny little quirks about these older videos is that you can tell I did not put a whole lot of effort into it. Although when I was rewatching these, in the Smash Bros 3DS video that was like 3 months later, I made the exact same mistake. Which like it's kind of understandable because it's in a weird spot, but like you had like 2 months in between videos and you still made the exact same mistake. What are you doing, man? Why didn't you just proof watch your videos? This video is only like 8 minutes long. Oh God. um, I guess Articuno doesn't follow that art style here as much, but I almost wish it was kind of otherwise because that looks even worse. Like, my God, man. That is the third time I've reused that drawing. Wow. Yeah, like I said, I reuse drawings a lot in these videos, especially at the beginning because, saves a lot of time. Like, why draw something new when I can just reuse the same drawing? But I stopped doing that in later videos just because, I would look back in the videos and I'd be like, it's not as fun to watch when you reuse the same drawings over and over again. Hey, here's number 1, Squirtle. So this is one, I don't know if Squirtle would still be my favorite my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. I tend to flip-flop around a lot between Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander, because honestly, they're all, like, really solid designs overall. So, usually, like, depending on the month, whichever one you ask me, like, when you ask me that, I'm going to say a different answer each time, and I guess Squirtle was just the one here. Although, I guess Squirtle was in Smash Bros. Brawl, so maybe that kind of contributed to my decision there. But, yeah. Wow, look at this majestic end screen. Oh, look at that. Yeah. hey, look, there's my Pokemon Red playthrough. So that was an interesting playthrough. I did like 7 or 8 episodes of that. But then I canceled it because I wasn't having fun doing it. And what I ended up doing is I released an update video on the Colco Gaming channel saying like it was called like why the Pokemon Red playthrough was canceled, and it was just an update video for me to talk about like why I was canceling the series. And I believe I made that video just because of the fact that I advertised it like 2 times in the Sir Colco videos, and I was thinking, well, people are going to be watching these Sir Colco videos for years in the future, so I want to make sure that like if they see that in an old video and they try to go to it, they'll want to know why it was canceled. They totally will, and they totally will care about that. So that was my reasoning for making that update video, I guess. But hey, there's a little neat little piece of trivia there. So yeah, I have no idea why I made the YouTube outro so long for most of my videos. Obviously it would have been inspired by somebody that I watched, but I genuinely don't remember who, because when I think of all the YouTubers I watched at the time, none of them did that. So I don't know what I was doing there. But I do think the outros are a little bit neat because I kind of like listening back to them. But obviously, yeah, they were not good. And it's funny looking at the audience retention for these original videos and just seeing it plummet right when the outro starts. So objectively speaking, those were just bad for the channel and audience retention and stuff. So it's probably a good thing I stopped doing them later on. Yeah, I mentioned in that end card that my favorite starter is censored for spoilers. It was Tepig. Yeah, and he was my favorite starter for Gen 5. And honestly, my favorite starter, like, of all time. My favorite Pokemon of all time. So that's why I didn't mention him here, because, it's a spoiler. I don't want to spoil the viewers, man. Because the Sir Colco viewers are, like, eagerly awaiting new content. But yeah, so that was this video. I disliked this video very fast. It did not take me that long to realize how bad this video was. Literally, I think in the top 10 worst Gen 1 Pokemon video that I followed this up with a month later. No, 2 months later. In the outro, I'm saying like, hey, you've seen the worst, but what are the best? Check out my best video on top 10 Gen 1 Pokemon. It's a little bit cringy since it's my first video, but I think you'll like it. Yeah, 2 months later, and I already did not like the video. So that should really show. That does also kind of show how I improved over time, or at least how I perceived my improvement at the time. But to be fair, looking back, I think there is improvement there. But yeah, this was the start of an era. Sorry, the first Sir Colco video, the start of a legacy, a whopping like 6 months legacy. Not even that, because I took a hiatus for a month. Yeah.